Have you ever found yourself in a heated argument, trying to prove your point, only to realize later that perhaps silence would have been a better response? Well, you're not alone. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that's often overlooked but incredibly powerful: the power of silence, especially as we mature and grow in our understanding of the world around us. In this video, we're going to explore why silence can be more impactful than words, how maturity plays a role in this realization, and practical ways you can harness the power of silence in your everyday life. Whether you're someone who's always felt the need to have the last word, or you're just curious about how silence can be a tool for effective communication, this video is for you. So, sit back, relax, and let's embark on this journey of understanding together. Let's get started. Understanding maturity. So, let's start at the very beginning. What is maturity? Is it simply a matter of age, or is there more to it? Maturity, in its simplest form, is the ability to respond to the environment in an appropriate manner. But it's much more than that. It's about understanding, empathy, patience, and the ability to see beyond our immediate reactions. As we mature, we begin to realize that not every situation requires a reaction. Not every comment needs a comeback. And not every disagreement needs a heated debate. Maturity teaches us to pick our battles wisely, to understand that sometimes, silence can speak volumes more than 1,000 words ever could. But how does this maturity affect our communication, and more specifically, our decision to remain silent? Let's delve into that next. The power of silence. Silence. It's often seen as a sign of weakness, or even ignorance. But is it really? In reality, silence can be a powerful tool in our communication arsenal. It can convey understanding, respect, thoughtfulness, and even dominance. Think about it. When someone is shouting at you, and you choose to remain silent, it can disarm them, make them rethink their approach. Your silence can show that you're not willing to engage in a destructive argument. Or consider a situation where you're listening to someone pour their heart out. Your silence can provide them with the space they need to express their feelings, showing them that you're there to listen, not to judge or advise. Silence can also be a sign of self-control, showing that you're taking the time to think before you speak, to ensure that your words are meaningful and constructive. But what about our innate need to prove a point? How does that fit into this picture? Let's explore that next. The need to prove a point. We live in a world full of diverse opinions and perspectives. And naturally, we all have a desire to express our views, to prove our points. This need to prove a point, to make our voices heard, is deeply ingrained in us. It's part of our desire to validate our beliefs, to assert our identity, and to feel understood. But sometimes, this need can lead to unnecessary conflicts and misunderstandings. We get so caught up in proving our point that we forget to listen, to understand the other person's perspective. And in some situations, proving a point can be counterproductive. It can escalate conflicts, create tension, and even damage relationships. So, while it's important to express our views and stand up for what we believe in, it's equally important to know when to step back, when to listen, and when to let silence do the talking. Now, let's see how maturity and silence intersect, and how this understanding can transform our communication. The intersection of maturity and silence. As we grow and mature, we start to see the world through a different lens. We begin to understand the power of silence and how it can be more impactful than words. Maturity teaches us that silence is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. It shows that we have the wisdom to choose our battles, to know when to speak and when to remain silent. Let's consider a real-life example. Imagine you're in a meeting, and someone challenges your idea. Your initial reaction might be to defend your point, to prove them wrong. But what if, instead, you choose to remain silent, to listen to their perspective, and then respond thoughtfully? Your silence shows that you're open to feedback, that you're confident enough in your idea to consider different perspectives. It can command respect and even change the dynamics of the conversation. So, as we mature, we begin to see silence not as a void, but as a powerful tool that can enhance our communication, resolve conflicts, and even strengthen relationships. Now that we understand the power of silence, let's look at some practical ways to incorporate it into our daily lives. Practical tips. So, how can we harness the power of silence in our everyday lives? Here are some practical tips. First, practice active listening. Instead of thinking about your response while the other person is speaking, focus on understanding their perspective. This will naturally lead to moments of silence that show your respect and empathy. Second, take a pause before responding. This not only gives you time to formulate a thoughtful response, but also shows that you're considering the other person's words. Third, don't be afraid of silence. Embrace it. Remember, silence can be a powerful tool for communication, not an awkward gap to be filled. And finally, resist the urge to always have the last word. Sometimes, leaving things unsaid can be more impactful than any words you could say. Remember, these are just guidelines. The key is to be mindful of your communication and to use silence effectively, based on the situation and the people involved. Conclusion. So, we've taken quite a journey today, haven't we? We've explored the concept of maturity, the power of silence, and the human need to prove a point. We've seen how maturity can lead us to understand the true power of silence, and how silence can be a sign of strength, wisdom, and effective communication. And we've also discussed some practical tips to harness the power of silence in our everyday lives, from active listening to embracing moments of silence. Remember, the journey to maturity and understanding the power of silence is a personal one. It's about growing at your own pace, learning from your experiences, and becoming a better communicator. I hope this video has given you some food for thought and that you'll start to see silence not as a void, but as a powerful tool for communication. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and experiences.